About a minute, 1 minute to go. It's 6:59 for, hello? Yep. Yeah, is that what your thing says, 6:59? Okay. We'll try to be prompt. Paul, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready. Paul's
Whenever you
always
are.
ready.
Where's Jennifer?
Jennifer is under the weather.
Oh, okay.
She just texted me a few minutes ago and said, not gonna happen.
He's gone.
Based on the way she
Oh,
described
there he
it,
is.
not gonna happen.
Okay.
He was there. Now he's there.
Got him. Oh, no, the pillar's not an excuse for me. I can see him now.
So I mean, we're not gonna vote on the budget.
Sure we are.
Okay.
Well,
I could have sworn in the past you wanted to
Huh?
have everybody here to do that.
let's see what happens. Okay, well, it is 7 o'clock, and I want to welcome everybody to the October 16th, 2025 Webster Town Board Workshop. Tonight, we only have one agenda item, but it's a pretty big one. Paul Adams, the Town Finance Director, is going to do a presentation on the proposed 2026 town budget. And then at our 7:30 Town Board meeting tonight, we have a public hearing on that budget, and potentially tonight a town board vote on approving the final 2026 budget. So, budget night. So with that being said, Paul, I'm going to hand the baton to you.
Thank you, Tom. We're going to start by taking a look at a high-level comparison of 2026 to 2025. There are three main components: the operating funds, which are made up of the highway and the general fund. There's a sewer fund, which is a pretty large deal, so that one is called out. And there's also special districts and other funds, which is made up of about 8 other special districts and other funds such as the library and debt service. So gross expenditures are up year to year about 5.5 million. They came in at just over 53 million. So it's actually an 11.6% increase. But likewise, gross revenues at about 47 million are up about 3.5 million. The difference we made up with appropriated fund balance. We appropriated an additional 2 million in 2026 to balance out the budget. And you look at the expense summary, the three largest items which make up the largest sum are the employee compensation, the employee benefits, and the retiree employee benefits. In total, it's up about $2 million. They're about 8% year to year. The other major categories, capital, contractual, and debt service are also up substantially. And then we also have interfund transfers of about 4.9 million. Those are just monies that are being transferred from one fund to another. So it just kind of grosses up the expense and the revenues. When you get into the expense details, as I mentioned, employee compensation is up. It's up about 678,000, which is about 4%. It includes the union-driven contractual increases and 2 new positions. The employee benefits are also up substantially due to health insurance costs, and we noticed an increase in the retirement contributions. Both the base salaries and the contribution rates have been up substantially over the past couple of years. And then on the retirement side, the retirees' health insurance spiked substantially at the beginning of 2025. So year to year, that was not baked into the 25 budget, so we're showing a pretty big increase year to year in that category. The contractual purchases, actually I skipped capital. The capital purchases include about 1.2 million of new highway equipment and about 660,000 of sewer collection system upgrades. On the contractual purchases include about 560,000 for insurance, 416,000 for wastewater treatment chemicals, We've seen those, the cost of those chemicals spike rather substantially over the past couple of years as well. $360,000 for sludge hauling, $450,000 for CHIPS road materials. That's the Consolidated Highway Improvement Program. We actually get reimbursed for those funds. And there's about $1 million for gas and electric utility costs, which is up about 12%. And some of that's driven by that wastewater treatment plant, since we're going to be handling quite a bit more flow in 2026. That drives the electricity costs up and the gas costs. Debt service also increased. We have some major capital projects going on. We borrowed in August for the Sandbar Park, the wastewater treatment plant Phase 2 project, and the highway building. So debt service is actually up about 26%, or about $1.5 million year to year. Next slide is capital projects and debt. Basically, it shows a comparison. Just to note, these figures I've used are as of August 31st. At the end of August, the town did borrow a ban and a serial bond, and the proceeds are going to be used throughout the ensuing 12 months. So for the various capital projects, the town has authorized $132 million via bond resolutions, but we'll never actually borrow this amount because we've received grant proceeds, which net the total amount down, and some of the expenditures on the projects are actually coming in better than expected. So the gross amount borrowed to date is about $102 million, but the projected, or the project life to date net cost at the end of August was about $74 million. So it's actually only running at about 56% of the amount that we're authorized to borrow. On the revenue side, the property taxes and sewer charges are up about $645,000, which is up about 2.9%. The next five categories are kind of the big five. The Monroe County sales tax, sewer charges and entrance fees, recreation programs and fitness memberships, mortgage tax, and New York State Monroe County highway contracts. Those amounts total just under $15 million. So as you can see, the town does receive quite a bit of additional revenue outside of the property tax. So overall revenue is up about $3.5 million. Just getting into the details, as I said, we're at about a 2.9% increase for property tax and sewer charges. It is under the New York State tax cap. Monroe County sales tax, I've budgeted that flat year to year at $6.7 million. This year I'm allocating $2.5 million to the general fund, $800,000 to the general part-town fund, and $3.4 million to the highway part-town fund. I'm able to allocate to the highway, or to the general townwide fund, because we've actually reduced the tax liability to zero in the part-town funds. At some point that'll have to flip back, but we're in a good position to do it currently. The sewer charges and entrance fees are up also substantially at $5.3 million. It's actually an increase of about 55%. And that's mainly due to the expectation of Coca-Cola Fairlife coming online in January of 2026. We're also expecting increased revenue of about $1.3 million from high-strength organic waste, which is also driven, some of that is also driven by Fairlife and other customers which we're expecting to have in place once the sewer plant is complete. Sewer debt reimbursement, there's $825,000, which is coming in from Fairlife. We have a deal with them where they reimburse us 96% of the debt service that we incurred in regard to the conveyance pipe project. They already made the first payment in July of '25, and the second payment will be due in July of '26. And that's a 9-year SERI bond issue. Building permit and engineering fees, we're actually expecting those to drop year to year by about $410,000. Back in 2023, Fairlife paid us about $1.5 million, which was recognized as revenue between '23 and '25 gradually as their project progressed. So there's no revenues that will be recognized in '26 in regard to the Fairlife project on the building and engineering fees side of things. And their recreation programs have continued to grow. Chris Bilo's done a nice job growing those programs, so with the growth, there's additional revenues. And on the sewer department side, basically the sewer department is in business. As I said, they're going to be taking on customers to take in high-strength organic waste, which increases revenue. The flow from Fairlife increases revenue substantially as they have to pay us one EDU charge for every 60,000 gallons that flows to our plant. So these three categories, including the debt reimbursement, are actually up about $2 million year to year. So even though the debt service cost has increased, as you can see, from '24 to '25, it increased about $2.5 million. Our business revenue, has actually increased almost $5 million. So there's actually a $2.4 million delta over the past 3 years. And we actually think the revenue estimates for 2026 are on the conservative side. So it should be good going forward. On the appropriated fund balance side, the town does have a fund balance policy where we try to keep the fund balance, the unreserved fund balance, within 15 to 50% of actual expenditures for the 4 operating funds. So we've actually got 2 funds that are actually over the limit. The general part-town fund and the highway part-town fund are well over the limit. So we've actually put together a multi-year plan to get those within the range, and that entitles us or allows us to use a considerable amount of fund balance to not only balance the budget, but to get things back in line. So for the year, we're actually appropriating just over $6 million in total. The property tax rates are coming in at $5.52. That's both for a house located outside the village and a house within the village, so it's the same rate. So year to year, the tax rate is up about 13 cents, or about 2.4%. But the past 5 years, we're only up about 4.2%. So things are going pretty well. On the sewer rate side, we're at $258.43. Last year we were at $252.73, so we have a slight increase. Now there was a shift between O&M and capital charge, and that's because on the O&M side, as I said, we're in business now. There's a lot more business revenue being recognized on the O&M side. So it's actually driving down the O&M rate, and the capital charge rate is going up because there's associated debt service with the capital project, which has helped us create the revenue. So it's a win-win. Historically, the sewer system infrastructure needs have been underfunded. In the 20-year period between 1998 and 2018, the rate stayed within like $162 to $168. Now we're at $258. And that's allowing us to put away some funds for the future. We're actually contributing $400,000 this year to the sewer capital reserve. In 2025, we did $540,000. So it'll help us curtail some of the costs down the road, as long as we can continue to fund that capital reserve. So since '23, the rate is up about $26, or about 11.4%. So it's not too bad for a 3-year look at it. So the average tax bill in Webster, it's based on an assessed value of $178,000. As you may or may not know, we have a very low equalization rate. Our equalization rate is currently 0.48. So that means that house would have a market value of about $370,000. If it was connected to the sewer system, which most houses are, the total bill for '26 to be $1,240, and '25 was $1,212. So it's about a almost $29 increase year to year. It's about 2.4% increase. So overall, we're, as I mentioned, we're under the tax cap. The last time the town broke the tax cap, we've only broken it once, so it's in 2016. So it's now been 10 years since the cap's been broken. So that's pretty much the summary. If you have any questions or comments at this point, feel free.
John?
No?
Jenny?
Thank you, Paul.
Okay. Patty?
I have no questions, but Paul, I want to thank you for your financial wizardry and putting all this together. You did a great job on it, making it understandable for everyone, including the audience and whoever might be listening to this. I did make a note somewhere, but I really think you covered it. You talked about the increase in costs at the sewer department between utility costs and chemical costs going up, but clearly you showed that that is offset by revenue.
Yeah, obviously, when you treat additional flow, Fairlife may send as much as 2 million gallons a day, which is like I think we were doing on the average about 3 million. Is that correct, Rick? So we're gonna go from 3 million to 5 million.
Right.
That's a lot of flow, so that takes more chemicals, more utilities,
Yes,
and everything else.
right. And everything that's been done down there with the new project also, and you did mention, offers the opportunity for additional revenue beyond Fairlife.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna drive a lot of additional revenue.
Thank you.
Yeah, since Fairlife is not yet operating, we built in revenue estimates in '26, but we were conservative with them because
Right,
we haven't seen the proof yet.
right, right.
So there was also some baked into the '25 budget, but it was a very low amount, so it's a good thing we were conservative because we thought at this point they'd be live, but they're not quite there yet. They've sent some flow, but
Right.
mainly on a test basis.
Right, but just the fact that some flow is being sent, it certainly looks like they're going to meet that January deadline.
Yeah.
This is awesome. We are ahead of schedule. And like I said at the beginning, this is budget night. It's kind of a trifecta. We have the presentation along with any Q&A and discussion of the board members. And during a town board workshop, for people that are new to this process, there isn't really a forum for the public to take the podium during the town board workshop. Now, I said it's a trifecta tonight. When we hit 7:30 and we start the regular town board meeting, we will have the public hearing on the proposed 2026 budget. And then anybody who's in the audience who would like to take the podium, they can take the podium to discuss the budget at that time. And then the third thing tonight would be that the town board may vote on adopting the 2026 budget. I will say this, for anybody who is new to this, the budget process starts in May. It is a 6-month process. It is one that, I guess the best way to explain it, well, let me first say that I saw some people trying to take notes from the screen on the 13 pages that Paul just presented. This is it yet, Bridget, uploaded to the town board website, I'm sorry, the town website and social media platforms for anybody to pull down. So we don't have handouts for people on this. But I thought it important to hand out the one pager that I gave out to people that are here, and I will also hand this out at 7:30 for any new people that show up for the public hearing. This one pager is something that back on July 31st and August 7th at the 2 town board budget workshops that are part of this 6-month process. In those 2 workshops, the town department heads take that podium and present their proposed budget. And I handed this out to the attendees at that time because I wanted them to have just a 1-page layman term explanation, really, of what I consider the key factors in a budget. Now, as you might have just noticed, and Paul Adams is the best finance director in Monroe County. 19 towns, hands down, he is the best. Now, the best is a subjective term. Let me tell you why I can make that an objective term, because I am part of the Monroe County Supervisors Association, and they have started to have their finance directors reach out to him to get his opinion on how to handle certain things. That, to me, is tangible proof that the other town finance directors recognize him as a subject matter expert. Now, with that being said, I was a CPA at one time. He is a CPA, correct?
I am.
We can talk the same language, but for non-accountants, what Paul just went over on 13 pages might have been a little, it's a lot, okay? There was a lot that was just presented, and I appreciate that. And that's why I thought it important to hand out this one pager. Really has some, like I said, just here's that shows the different factors on the last 7 years. You heard Paul say, and I will not make this meeting go beyond 7:25. We will be done at 7:25 so we can start the meeting, the regular board meeting at 7:30. If you get the Webster Herald, one of the items on the page that I handed out was the total tax bill including sewer EDU. I wanted to give people that 7 years across. The bottom line, so much talk and rhetoric about town taxes, this and that. At the end of the day, the average house in Webster in 2020 had $1,114 as their town tax bill. In this proposed budget, we're at $1,241. That's up $127 over 7 years. And we've done that in a manner that when you look at the bottom, the last line of this page right here, the fund balance, the savings account of the town has gone from $16.8 million at the end of 2020 to over $33 million. This is what I call a good problem, but it's a problem. Because the more we have that in the savings account, that means we are overtaxing our real estate holders. That's just a fact. So we never had a fund balance policy. It was left to the town board every year to go, what should we do? That's a bad policy, because you could have 5 town board members that are attorneys, nothing personal. You could have 5 town board members that are accountants. You could have 5 town board members that are, house husbands, housewives. The difference in the skill level of the town board members with no guide rails of millions of dollars, not a good policy. That gentleman over there went down to the Association of Towns meeting in 2021, came back, worked with the state comptroller's office in best practices, built a fund balance policy for the town of Webster that he described earlier. You got to keep these funds between 15% and 50%. You don't want to deplete them, because it would be very easy for certain election years and stuff, hey, let's not raise the taxes, let's just dump all the money out of the savings account and glad hand our residents. Great, until all of a sudden we need that money. On the same token, if we keep building it up, it means that we're taxing this money and not spending it, and it's building the savings account. So you can't have that. The reality is, we're a very conservative town on budgeting. We were long before I was the supervisor here. We conservatively budget, and then at the end of the year that we budgeted for it, we end up doing more revenues than we budgeted, and we have less expenses than we budgeted. Translation, we keep growing our savings account. Even though we are trying everything in our power under our own fund balance policy to get rid of that savings account, which every dollar of that savings account, appropriated fund balance that we put into the budget, is one less dollar that we tax the citizens. And even as we continue to do that, we seem to not be able to get rid of this fund balance. This is a good problem, but it's a problem. And I feel very, very good about the fact that since I'm going to be out of here in 2.5 months, and in about 5 months, the next supervisor in town board is going to have to start the 2027 budget process, they are going to be left with a lot of money in the coffers. So we should be able to, as years go on, continue to keep a very stable tax rate if we follow our fund balance policy. And if we continue the practice that was started long before I was supervisor to be very conservative in budgeting. So with that said, I think it's right around 7:25. That concludes the workshop portion of tonight's meeting, and we will shut down the cameras, and we will be back in 5 minutes to start the regular town board meeting. Thank you, everybody.